Hello and welcome to Nature and Environment. And today I'm going to talk about the practical solutions in addressing the Galamsey business in Ghana. Well, there has been a number of buzzwords, including end Galamsey, ban Galamsey. They are destroying our water bodies. They are making noise in our communities. They are destroying our agricultural lands, among others. But all these cliches are far from addressing the reality on the ground. Now, before I look at the practical approach in dealing with the problem of Galamsey in Ghana, I'll first of all touch on the institutions that are involved in the organization of mining in Ghana. So I'll look at two major ministries, and then I'll look at some of the agencies and commissions that fall under these ministries. So the first ministry I will look at is the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation. And then I'll also look at Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. So under the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, I'll look at the Environmental Protection Agency. So the Environmental Protection Agency was established in 1994, and it is being empowered by the Environmental Protection Act 1994. What is the role of the Environmental Protection Agency? The overall goal of the Environmental Protection Agency is to set technical standards to guide all undertakings, development projects within the environment of Ghana. So for example, they look at the standards of treated effluent discharges into our water bodies. Now, how is this Environmental Protection Agency connected to mining? So I worked there for a while, so at least I really know. There's a department in the Environmental Protection Agency that is devoted to mining. So now what happened is, before a mining activity starts in the country, the potential miner would prepare what is called environmental impact assessment or environmental assessment, which is an environmental protection tool. Now, what is the environmental impact assessment about? It's a document that covers the systematic identification and evaluation of all the potential negative environmental impact of proposed project plans, policies, government strategies relative to physical, biological, chemical, and socioeconomic component of the environment. There is also another environmental protection tool. Now, this tool, what it does is that it equips the organizer or the miner to effectively manage the day-to-day environmental impact arising during construction, operation, and the decommissioning of the mining activity. So somebody will ask, what is the difference between the environmental assessment and that of the environmental management system? Now, the environmental assessment focuses on all activities related to the environment during planning and design stage, while that of the environmental management system touches on the construction, operation, and that of decommissioning. So with the environmental assessment, the potential miner will tell us the possible negative environmental impact that would arise from the mining process, and also tell us the mitigation measures that they have in place in order to address these problems. This document is submitted to the Environmental Protection Agency, and then the Environmental Protection Agency will review this document. Now they will see whether the identifiable negative impact and that of the alternatives are within reason. So if everything is okay, then they would grant the permit, the license, whatever, to the miner. If they are not okay with it, they will make recommendations so that they work around and then find an alternative so that they can all be on the same page. The next thing I want to talk about is the Minerals Commission, which falls under the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. So the Mineral Commission, which also came into effect in 1993, is being empowered by the Minerals Commission Act 1993. So in 2006, another act was also introduced, which is the Minerals and Mining Act 2006. So there was also another amendment that came into effect in 2015, which is also called the Minerals and Mining Act 2015. And then in 2019, we also had another amendment, which is also expressed as the Minerals and Mining Act 2019. Now, what is the role of the Mining Commission? The role of the Mining Commission is to regulate and manage all the mineral resources of Ghana. At the same time, they also coordinate the various policies in relating to these operations. So the Water Resources Commission also came into effect in 1996. Now, the role of the Water Resources Commission is to also manage and regulate all the water resources within the environment of Ghana, as well as coordinating the various policies related to the water management in the country. The last one is the Lands Commission. Now, the responsibility of this Land Commission is to be in charge of all the mappings, allocation of concessions, and also settling of dispute among concession owners. So this is how these agencies and commissions play when it comes to these mining activities in Ghana. Now, let's look at the statistics. If you looked at or watched my previous video on the problems created by the galamseyers in Ghana, I said that the statistics are giving that between 20,000 and 50,000 Ghanaians are galamseyers or illegal miners, and out of this, 3 million Ghanaians are benefiting directly or indirectly from this galamsey business in Ghana. So now, if you look at the population of Ghana again, we are just around 30 million. So if 3 million are involved in this, then we are talking about a very huge number that cannot just be cut out like that. If we go back again and look at what people are saying, what the masses are calling for, and galamsey, yes, I think the government should be able to do that without any problem by ending galamsey once and for all. And it can be done easily by just deploying the military men onto the field so that they can just get rid of anyone who is trying to engage in galamsey. We have seen a similar approach not too long ago, where excavators and a few equipment were bent here and there, but I don't think that will solve the problem. And there are so many questions that I will ask. So now let's look at this one. This could be a military exercise, so it is out of government budget. So if government will have to engage the military to do this, then additional expenditure will have to be brought in, which will increase the spending on government budget. Another thing is, how long will these military men going to be in the field? Are they going to stay here for 2 years or more? Now, when they vacate, the military men vacate the field, don't you think these galamseyers will resume their work, or will go back and take over the concession and start with the illegal mining activities again? Other questions like, what will also happen if we ask these galamseyers to leave this field? What will happen to them? How are they going to feed themselves? How are they going to also put food on their families' table? So these are some of the questions we need to ask before we try to address the problem of what Galamsey in Ghana. Now let's look at the practical approach that I think I want to propose, so that it can, looked into, and then we can address the problem of Galamsey. First of all, I think that the government will have to set a committee. Now the committee can be formed by the deputy minister. There's no need for government to form a committee outside the government. Now this committee that will be formed, I strongly believe that there's no need for government to pay them, because it forms part of their responsibility. When they were given the employment or the appointment letter, usually we have an aspect that say additional roles will be added. So they can, form this committee and, help in addressing the problem of Galamsey. So what they will do is that they will draft a policy. Now the policy, in this policy, it should be so comprehensive that they will take care of what the Galamseyers, they will take care of the community, they will take care of all the people that are involved in the illegal mining in Ghana. Now, once the committee is formed, government will have to give the Galamseyers, say, an ultimatum of, say, 2 months or 3 months to vacate this area. Now, in doing that, the government will have to encourage everyone, every Galamseyer, to go to the nearest municipal assembly or district and then get registered. Now, government will have to, again, the next step government will have to do is to engage these legal miners or mining company that, hey, look, I have these guys that I want them to leave this field. However, I want you to engage them. Now, depending on the number of galamseyers that you engage on your concession, I'm going to give you a tax deduction. At this point, government will not have to spend additional money on these galamseyers again, because now the burden will now be moved to the private sector. But you should also know this, these guys that will be engaged by the mining companies are not also going to get paid from the mining company, but they are going to get paid from their work. So on the side of the mining companies, what will happen is that they would also make sure that the galamseyers or the new guys that they have been recruited will also work, get the minerals from their concession, bring it to them, and then they will pay them based on their performance. In this way, government is cutting down the stress. We are also cutting down the stress on the mining company. Now, there's a major role that the government will have to do in this way. The government would then have to introduce trade schools in these areas or these communities. Right. The trade schools, what the trade school will do is that these galamseyers can go there and learn carpentry, masonry, plumbing, and among others. Now, how do they balance the two? We have 7 days in a week. They can go to school for 3 days, and then they go to the field and do mining for, say, 4 days. Right. So if we are able to sustain this policy for, say, 2-3 years, some of these guys will be able to, acquire the skills to the extent that they can be employed by these legal miners. At the same time, some of them may even leave the field and then operate on their own. And then in that way, we'll be able to gradually phase out the galamseyers in the country. There's one thing that came on board when I was reviewing the materials. The Minerals Commission, they are in firm support of community mining, but I think I disagree with them because precedence has given us a clear evidence that whenever the community is involved in the mining itself, what will happen is that it becomes very difficult to get rid of these small scale miners, illegal miners, among others. Now I'll tell you the reason why. Now, if you have the community is involved in, this mining activity, definitely the boys may belong to the chief, the boys may belong to some elders in the community, the boys may belong to some gurus in the community. Now, they will do all sorts of things. At the end of the day, once the minerals are extracted from the soil and then the proceed are in, what will happen is that they pass some of these benefits to the chiefs, to the elders, to the gurus and others, the community leaders. So at the end of the day, it becomes difficult for them to control or to report on these guys. This will lead to what is called the conflict of interest. Usually, the community is supposed to serve as a watchdog or a watchman or a security man or whatever. So their role is to report on miners, the activity that they are doing that goes against the requirement as stated in the permit, the licenses, among others. But now that the community is involved in this, who will report on the mining activity? And even individuals who are interested in protecting the water bodies and the land and all that cannot even report on their activity, because in our culture, we all know if you start to report on elders who are involved in illegal activities and doing things bad in the community, then everybody will turn at you, and then you not feel comfortable within the community. So that is also another aspect that we have to take a look at it. So now, going back, I think that if this approach can carefully be looked at, we'll be able to address the illegal mining in our community while protecting the natural resources such as the water, the soil, among others. Thank you for your time. Do subscribe, follow, and like my page. Bye for now.